Hey guys, I'm Exodia, and today we're starting a new series on the channel. It's going to be how to make a simulator game series, as you can see with this GUI here, with the title Rebirth. This is going to be part 1, where I show you how to make a tool to get strength, an area that you could sell your strength for coins, then a GUI for rebirthing. Some things I'd like you to have made beforehand in your game is that rebirth menu with a button to open the menu, then your title, at least a simple description saying to display how many more coins you need to rebirth, and then a button for rebirthing, as location to sell your strength for coins that you made, as well as at least a starter sword that you made. Now to start, we will make a leader stats. If you don't know what a leader stats is, then whenever you join a game for, whenever you join a typical simulator game, you'll always see that player list in the top right that displays all the players in the game. Then you'll also see, in a game, you'll see whatever value they have, the amount of coins or cash they have, their rebirth count, their gems. We're going to make something like that to start off. So also have an events folder inside of replicated storage, because this is where, for the whole series, we'll be storing all of our remote events that we need for the series. So anyways, for the leader stats, we'll insert a new server script into server script service and call it leader stats. And because this is the first part, I don't really want to get in depth with data stores or anything yet, so we'll just do a super simple leader stats. So to start, we'll do game.players.playerAdded, which player added is an event inside the player's class or player's service, and we could tie a function to it. So how it works is every time a player joins the game, this event will trigger and fire off this function. By default, the parameter that's provided is the player who joins. So we'll make a new leader stats folder. So we'll do local leader stats equals instance.new folder leader stats dot name equals leader stats. It must be called this in all caps, otherwise it will not display in the top left. And then leader stats dot parent equals player. So that we'll do is we'll make a few int values. So local strength, you could call this whatever you want for this value that you're going to sell for coins in your game, whatever that will be. I'm going to call it strength because I'm using swords for my example game. And so local strength equals instance.new int value strength.name equals strength.parent equals leader stats. And because we're going to make a coins in rebirths value, we can copy and paste this 2 times and change the name to coins just to save us some time. Set the name to coins. Set this name to rebirths. And if we load into our game, then boom, we have our leader stats up here. Next thing we'll do is make our sword. So we'll insert our remote events now. One for swing. And then we'll Control D to duplicate this and call this rebirth, which we'll use later when coding the rebirth UI. And for now, we can also put the menu up to -1.5 on the y-axis, or just some dimension to where it's going to be off screen. And so what we'll do is also add an int value and a number value into our tool. Call the int value strength gain. We'll set the value of this to the amount of strength we want to gain when swinging the tool. I'm going to set mine to 1. And then this will be our swing cooldown. We'll set this equal to the time we want to wait between swings or increments to get our currency. We'll call this, we'll set this to 0.5. You can set it to whatever you want though. And then we'll insert a local script and call it sword_client. as well as insert another server script in the server script service. And we'll call this main game to handle all this stuff on the client, or on the server, I mean. So on the sword client, we'll first make a variable for replicated storage so we can get the swing event. So local replicated storage equals game::get service. Replicated storage, local swing event equals replicated storage : get, or replicated storage dot events find first child swing local sword, or whatever your tool name is, equals script dot parent local strength gain equals sword find first child strength gain local swing cooldown equals sword find first child swing cooldown. And then local can swing equals false. This will be a variable that we use to make sure that we could swing only when the tool is equipped. And then also local debounce equals false. This is something just so we can trigger a cooldown on our swing. So what we'll do is do sword dot equipped, and what equipped is it's an event inside the tool that'll trigger every time we equip it. So sword dot equipped connect function. This function will then fire when we equip the tool, and here we'll just set can swing equal to true, because when we have it equipped we want to be able to swing it. Otherwise we'll do sword dot unequipped, just like how sword dot equipped will trigger when we equip the sword. Sword dot unequipped is an event that triggers when we unequip the sword. So sword dot unequipped connect function can swing will be equal to false. I'll do sword dot activated. You could do now what activated does is to activate a tool you gotta left click, and that's what will trigger this event. So this event will trigger whenever we activate the tool, which, as I said, occurs when we left click our mouse with the tool out. So then when that happens, we'll check if can swing equals true and debounce equals false. Then first we'll set the debounce equal to true so we can't spam click. Then we will take the swing event and fire it to the server and pass our strength gain dot value as our only parameter. And we'll wait swing cooldown dot value, then set our debounce equal to false so we can swing again. And now we can go into the main game. Actually copy and paste the replicated storage and swing event. And also, just to make it easier for us, we'll get the rebirth event right now. So local rebirth event equals replicated storage dot events find first child rebirth. So now what we'll do is do swing event dot on server event connect function, which if you do not know what on-server event does, or if you're not too familiar with remote events, on-server event is an event inside of the remote event object. So every time we fire a remote event to the server from our client, this event will trigger, then cause this function to fire. And by default, the first parameter always given is the player who fires the event. Then we also pass the strength gain parameter on the client, which is how much strength we're going to gain. And so now what we could do is do player.leaderStats.strength.value plus equals strength gain. What plus equals does is it just takes our value provided here, then it adds this value provided afterwards to it. Otherwise, if we wanted to add a value, if we wanted to add to this value, we'd have to write it like this. Player.leaderStats.strength.value equals that plus our strength gain. So using plus equals allows us to condense it and be a lot shorter, so we use less time and are more efficient. So that's all we need to do here. Now what we'll do is make it to where we can sell our strength for coins. So we'll insert a server script into this and call it sell script. And we're going to use the .touched event, so local sell part equals script.parent. I'm going to do sell part .touched connect function. Now what the .touched event is, it's an event inside of all the parts in your game that whenever another part touches it, it will trigger this event and cause this function to fire. And then by default, the parameter that always gets passed is the part that hits it, and we'll call this hit. And so we want to make sure that this is the player touching our sell part. So we'll check if hit.parent find first child humanoid. In fact, we can even do find first child of class. Then local player equals game.players get player from character hit.parent if player. And we'll also do debounce here, local debounce equals false if player and debounce equals false, then debounce equals true. Player dot leader stats dot coins dot value plus equals player dot leader stats dot strength dot value, and then player dot leader stats dot strength dot value equals 0. Then we could wait 1. And then set our debounce back to false. So we just did a lot here. Then I will do my best to explain everything we just did. So first, if hit.parent find first child of class humanoid, then so considering we want the player, if one of the parts inside the player, like maybe it's their foot or something that touches our cell trigger, then we want to get the parent of that part, because we'll assume that it's the character. And if it's the character, then we can find the humanoid class inside of the character, which is why we're doing find first child of class. Then we can get the player from that character, because game.players get player from character is a function that is pretty self-explanatory. We provide a character and it'll get the player in the game from that character. We use hit.parent because if that hit part's parent is the character, then we can get the player from it. So then if player, to make sure that they're in game and not nil, and debounce is false, then we'll fire. Then everything will happen. Our debounce will be true for cooldown on selling, and then we'll add to our coins value, our current strength value, set our strength to 0, and that'll be that. And now we can go into Studio to test to make sure that's going to all work. So we'll grab our tool we made. As you can see, we can get strength when we click with it. And now if we just touch the sell part, our strength gets converted into coins. So now let's code our rebirth menu to make sure that we can use our coins to rebirth. So what we'll do is insert a local script into our screen GUI and call it rebirth underscore client. And we'll get quite a few things. First, we'll get replicated storage. Game get service replicated storage, so we can get our rebirth event for when we need to fire it. So local rebirth event equals replicated storage dot events find first child rebirth. Rebirth. Then we'll get the menu button, so local menu button equals script.parent find first child, menu button, get the rebirth menu, which equals script.parent find first child, rebirth menu. Then we'll get the rebirth button, which equals rebirth menu dot rebirth button. Get the shadow inside the rebirth button because I want to color the button in the shadow to be like red if we don't have enough to rebirth and green if we do. So rebirth button dot shadow local rebirth cost equals we'll set this to 25 times player dot leader stats dot rebirths dot value plus 1. And the reason we're doing this, and we also need to get a variable for the player, so local player equals game dot players dot local player. And so the reason we're setting the rebirth cost equal to this is because we'll get it'll scale with our rebirths, so the more rebirths we have, the more this will cost. And you can customize this however you want, do any kind of math so it like scales to your liking. But we do plus 1 because if we have 0 rebirths, then it'll multiply this by 1 still, as if we so that we don't need 0 coins to rebirth. So now what we'll do is also get the description value, so we can edit that, so we can display how many coins we still need to rebirth. So local description equals rebirth menu dot description. So now what we could do is we could do player dot leader stats dot coins colon get property change signal value colon connect function colon get property change signal is an event inside of our coins in value, and it basically will just detect whenever that value changes, and it'll fire this function when the value updates. So here we'll do is set, for starters, if player dot leader stats dot coins dot value is greater than or equal to rebirth cost, then description dot text equals you need, we'll concatenate, it's just 2 periods, and we can combine multiple string values together, so we could do stuff like you need, in fact we could do 0 coins to rebirth, but then else if player dot leader stats dot coins dot value is less than rebirth cost, then here's where we'll do description dot text is equal to you need, and now we will concatenate to rebirth cost minus player dot leader stats dot coins dot value concatenate coin, and we'll do in parentheses in case we have 1 to rebirth. Concatenating can allow us to just combine string values and like numbers into the strings. If we have to get a specific value, we can combine that with concatenates. So yeah, and then we'll also change the rebirth button color to coordinate with how many coins we have. So rebirth button dot background color 3 equals color 3 dot from RGB to get a value from 0 to 255. And we'll just go to our rebirth button, copy that background color here, and paste it. We'll also change the shadow color. So shadow dot background color 3 equals color 3 dot from RGB. Go into our shadow here, do the same. And I'm going to change it to like I'm going to set it to like a green color if we have enough to rebirth. Otherwise, I'm going to do a red color if we don't have enough to rebirth. So I'm going to copy and paste this and change this to 25500. And then here I'll do like 11500. You could change these colors to whatever you want for your game. And then now we'll copy and paste this into our get property change signal event so that we can update the GUI every time our coins value updates. And then we'll also update it as well when our rebirths value updates, because when our rebirths update, we want our rebirth cost to update. So we'll do that as well. Value connect function. So we'll paste this, and before doing any of that, we'll just set our rebirth cost again. And then we'll also do rebirth button. In fact, we can do that up here. So rebirth button dot mouse button one click, which if you're unfamiliar with scripting GUIs and what mouse button one click does, it's a event inside of the image buttons and text buttons that when you left click on them, it'll trigger this function. So left clicking on your mouse, and then we can check if our if we have enough to rebirth. So we'll do if player.leader_stats.coins.value is greater than equal to rebirth cost, then we can do our rebirth event :fire server. We'll send the rebirth cost as our only parameter. And then also we'll need to make another mouse button one click event to open up our GUI. So we'll do menu button dot mouse button one click connect function. And what we'll do is we'll take our rebirth menu and do something called tween it, which will move it across our screen. So rebirth menu tween position, and to work with position or size of a GUI object, we'll use udim2.new, and we'll send it to 0.50, 0.50, and then we'll use out as our easing style, or easing direction, I mean. We'll use quint as our easing style, and true to override any other tweens ongoing right now. And then 1 to have our duration of the tween be 1 second. And then we'll also make a local menu open variable. We'll set that to false. And here, if menu open is equal to false, then we'll do that same tween. Else if menu open is equal to true, then we will tween it back off screen. So for this, we'll just do the same thing, but just edit that y value to be -1.5. So now all this should come together to work. So if we go and test our game, oh, whoops, rebirth cost minus player.leader sets of coins of value here, not rebirth cost dot player. That's my bad. So now let's test that. So we get our sword, and let's actually open up our menu. As you can see, it displays the 25 coins we need, and our button's red. If we were to click on it, you could put a print here to debug to see, okay, if we don't have enough, then it'll tell us. I didn't do that, but if we were to sell our strength, then it'll update. And now that we have 8 coins, we just need 17 more. So I'm going to go into the server, like so. You just go up to the test and click on current client, and it'll send you to the server. Go to players, your player, and then find your stat. And I'm just going to set this to what I need to rebirth. Go back to the client, and test, and click on our rebirth GUI. Oh, that's my bad, so we'll just do that. think I bugged it a little bit because of that. That's my bad. So just go onto the server. 25. Back to the client. Or rebirth menu. Oh, wait. That's what's going wrong. We didn't actually do anything on the server yet. That's my bad. So what we'll do is go to main game. Can't believe I forgot about this. We'll do rebirth event.onServer event :connect function player rebirth cost. If player.leaderstats.coins.value, we're just doing this check so nobody's exploiting in the game, so that if on the server they don't have enough to rebirth, we won't allow them to. So we'll do if player.leaderstats.coins.value is greater than or equal to rebirth cost, then for blank, in fact, we'll do player.leaderstats dot rebirths dot value plus equals 1 to add 1 in the value. I'll do a for blank value in pairs player.leaderstats get children do. Now what we're doing, we are doing this for loop to loop through all the items in our leader stats, and we'll just set any value that isn't a rebirth, or if you have a gem name, or if you have like gems, we won't set that to 0. So we'll do if value.name does not equal rebirths, then value.value equals 0. So let's test this out. Go on to our server. We'll just give us enough coins to rebirth. Plot our GUI. And ooh. Looks like that one error, we're running into that again. That should be it. Yeah. And our other error here is I spelled leader stats wrong. So we'll just correct all that. Now we can test it again, and it should work just fine. So we'll go back into the server, give ourselves the coins we need to rebirth so we don't have to waste time swinging our sword or tool. As you can see, it says 0, we rebirth, we get 1 rebirth, and our coins gets reset, and now it says we need 50 to rebirth. So now what I'm going to do is give myself both coins and strength just to make sure both get reset. Now we rebirth. Oh wait, I have to go back into the. Oh wait, I gave that to myself on the client. So that part does actually work. So you can't exploit the game. So now we're just gonna make sure that both our strength and coins gets reset, and it does, and we get the rebirth and our coins. We need 75 coins now. So yeah, that all works, and that's everything we're gonna be doing for part 1 in how to make a simulator game. I'll try to do this series on like a decently frequent basis. I'd first like to finish up the placement system series, and also if this series gets very good feedback, like if it gets a lot of likes, then I will continue it. Otherwise, if there isn't good feedback on it, I probably won't continue it, or I probably won't focus on it. I might focus on getting more advanced tutorial videos out. Otherwise, if you do like this video and want to see more from this series, remember to drop a like on the video. The more I see, then the more I'll know that, yeah, people want to see more of this. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because I try to post at least one video a week, one tutorial video a week, that is. So yeah, that's it for this video. You can also leave any comments down below criticizing the video, or asking any questions that you have. Otherwise, that's all I have for you guys. So yeah, see ya.